Assalamu alaikum everyone. Okay, so today we are going to start with specimen paper. Okay, T23 examination that you are going to appear. Now let's start with question number 1. Okay. Now, a heated sample of pure stearic acid is cooled and the temperature is recorded every minute for 30 minutes. A graph of the result is shown. Okay. So for the 30 minutes time duration, the temperature is recorded after every minute, and then they have plotted the graph. Which process occurs between 8 and 12 minutes? So its melting point is 69, which means that below 69 it's solid, and above 69 it's liquid. Okay, so here if you see that this is the melting point, or you can say freezing point of stearic acid, and if we see here it is 8, and around here it is 8 and 12. So here boiling is not, because if it's a melting point or the freezing point, so here either freezing or melting taking place, so A and B goes wrong. But if you see, as the time passes, the temperature is getting lowered, so it is not melting in this case. In this case it's freezing, so our correct answer is C. Is this understandable to everyone? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, now question number 2. Okay. Which statement are correct? The volume of a gas at constant pressure increases as the temperature increases. Is this statement is correct? So at a constant pressure, when we increase the temperature, what would happen? The volume of a correct. Now statement number 2, when the pressure of a gas is increased, the particle moves closer together. Yeah, that also happens, that the when we increase the pressure, the particles comes closer to each other. That's fine. That is correct. The pressure of a gas at constant volume decreases as the temperature increases. So when we increase the temperature, now molecules have a more energy, so they collide more rapidly, which makes statement 3 wrong. Its pressure does not decrease, instead it increases. So these two goes wrong, and A as well, because all 3 contains statement 3. So our correct answer is B. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Question number 3. Which substance would diffuse most quickly? Okay. So the substance at a higher, not and neon. So if we look for the MR of carbon dioxide, we find 44 right? Which makes B wrong as well. And our correct answer is neon, because neon is light weighted, so it can diffuse more randomly, more quickly. Is this understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just give me a minute, please. Okay. Now, question number 3. Uh, uh, 1 minute, please. Which diagram shows the arrangement of particles inside a balloon containing a mixture of a gases, nitrogen and oxygen? Okay, if you recall nitrogen, it is N2, and oxygen, it's O2. So both are diatomic, and here all are, see, these are nitrogen and oxygen atoms. So in A, uh, uh, A goes wrong because both are, atoms only. In the same way, D goes wrong because in D, one nitrogen and one oxygen atom are bonded. So that makes go D wrong as well. Now we are left with the B and C. So among B and C, we mark B wrong because both are the gases. So they are, in the continuous motion. And if they are in the continuous motion and they are continuously colliding with each other, so it is not the case that one gas is at the bottom of the balloon and the other gas stay at the top of the balloon. So that's why B goes wrong as well. And for that, we are left with C option. So C is the correct answer. Clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 5. The ion Q2 positive has 3 complete shells of electrons. What is Q? Okay. It's a 2 positive ion. So that makes C and D goes wrong because oxygen normally turns into 2 negative ion and sulfur usually turn into 2 negative ion. Okay. Now we are left with calcium and magnesium. So magnesium is in period 3. So magnesium atom have 3 shells, but when it turns into magnesium 2 positive, it have 2 shells only. So that's why so A is correct.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Question number 6. The symbol for 2 ions are shown. Uh, okay, one is fluoride ion and one is sodium ion. Which statement is correct? Okay, The fluoride ion contains more electrons than sodium ion. So fluoride ion have a 9 plus 1, 10 electrons. 9 electrons are in the fluorine atom and 1 electron it gains. And sodium atom have a 11 electrons, but when it turns into sodium ion, it loses 1 electron. As a result, it have a 10 electrons. So both the ions have a 10 electrons, which makes A wrong. The sodium ion contains more neutrons than fluoride ions. Let's have a look. If I will search for neutron of fluoride, 19 minus 9 gives me 10 neutrons. And for sodium, 21 minus 11 gives me 10 neutrons. So B goes wrong as well. The two ions contain same number of electrons as each other. So that's what we have figured it out. So this statement is correct, but first assure about D. The two ions contain the same number of protons as each other. No, one have a 9 protons, fluoride ion have a, and sodium ion have a 11 protons. So that's why D goes wrong. And C is the correct answer.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Just give me a minute, please. Please give me 1 minute. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now question number 7. Two isotopes of chlorine are chlorine 35 and chlorine 37. Using these isotopes, how many different relative molecular masses are possible for the compound with molecular formula C2H3Cl3? Okay, so C2H3 have a same carbon, hydrogen have a same mass, but there are 3 chlorines, and they have told us that these 3 chlorines have a different. The chlorine have a 2 isotopes, right? So there is a one possibility that one molecule have all 3 chlorines with the AR of 35. One have a 2 atoms of chlorine 35 and one is 37. And then there is another possibility that one chlorine 37 and 2 chlorine 37, and the last one that all are chlorine 37. So if you add them, in each case you will going to get a different mass value. So according to that, we are getting 4 different molecular masses of the compound. So the correct answer would be C in this case. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 8. What happens to an atom of a group 2 element when it forms a compound with oxygen? Okay. So group 2 elements are usually metals, and when they react with the oxygen, they will form a compound like MO, where it turns into a positive 2 charge ion, and oxygen have a negative charge ion. So they are solid, and these compounds are ionic compound. These oxides are ionic compound. Okay. So it bonds with 2 oxygen atoms. This loses its electron. It shares 2 electrons with an atom of oxygen. This goes completely wrong. So we are left with the D option. So D option must be the correct one. Is this understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 9. Ethane, C2H6 and ammonia, NH3. Ethane have a formula of C2H6 and ammonia have a formula of CH3. Okay, are covalent compounds. The dot and cross diagrams of these compounds are shown. Which statement are correct? Okay. A molecule of ethane contains twice as many hydrogen as a molecule of ammonia. Yes, that is correct, because here we have a 3 hydrogens and here we have a 6 hydrogen. So the number of hydrogens in ethane are twice. An unreacted nitrogen atom have a 5 outer electrons. So yes, if you can look at these, the dots are from hydrogen. So if I remove the dots, I have left with 5 outer electrons. So this statement is correct. In a molecule of ethane, the bond between carbon atoms is formed by sharing of 2 electrons, one from each carbon atom. Yes, because both the carbon atoms are sharing the electrons with each other. So that is also correct, which makes B, C, and D goes wrong. And A is your correct answer. Is this understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now question number 10. A compound contains 70% by mass of iron and 30% by mass of oxygen. What is its empirical formula? So it's very easy. Fe is to O. The percentage of Fe is 70, so we have to divide it with its AR, which is 56. And the percentage of oxygen is 30, and we have to divide it by 16. So can anybody divide it and tell me the values, please? 70 over 56 and 30 over 16. Yes, can anybody solve and tell me the values, please?
Sir, 1.25
1.25
and 1.87.
1.87. So 1.25 is smaller. So we have to divide both the values with 1.25. So I'm getting 1 over here and here.
1.5.
1.5.
1.5. So we have to multiply both the values with 2. So I will get 2 is to 3. So it means that the empirical formula would be Fe2O3. That's make D, C, and A wrong. And our correct answer is B. Okay. Now question number 11. Just give me a minute, please. Yeah. The equation for the reaction between ethyne and oxygen is shown. When the equation is balanced, what is X? Okay. So if you look at over here, we have a 4 carbons over here. So I have to put 4 over here. We have a 4 hydrogens over here. So I have to put 2 over here. So if there are 4 carbon dioxide, which makes 8 oxygen over here and 2 oxygen over here. So in total, the oxygen would be 10. So if the oxygen would be 10, A, B, and C goes wrong, and D is my correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 12. 25 gram of hydrated copper 2 sulfate crystals are heated to produce anhydrous copper 2 sulfate 60, MR is 160. So 5 times 18. 5 times 18 would be half of what 80, which means 90. If I am not wrong. And 90. So which is equal to grams, then the mass of copper sulfate and hydrous copper sulfate formed would be 16 grams only. Okay, so B, sorry, A, C and D goes wrong and our correct answer is B. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Now question number 13. The relative formula mass of compound. So they are asking about the moles of oxygen atoms only. Just give me a minute, please, everyone. Okay. Now, yes. So they are asking about, and they are giving us the MR of each compound as well. So if I have to find the number of oxygen atoms, what I have to do, I have to convert the mass of each compound into moles by dividing 1 by 102. If I it's MR. So if I divide 1 by 102, I will get the moles of aluminum oxide. In the same way, if I divide 1 by 80, I will get the moles of copper oxide. If I divide 1 over 98, it gives me the moles of sulfuric acid. And the same way, if I divide 1 over 16, it gives me a mass of moles of sulfuric acid. Now, here we have a 3 oxygen atoms. So I have to times it 3 to get the moles of oxygen. Here I have to times it 1. I will get a moles of oxygen. Here I would times by 4. So I will get the moles of oxygen. Here I would, oh, not 16, sorry. It is 63. Times by 3, I will get the moles of oxygen. So if you will calculate it, you will find the answer. The value which the answer which is the greatest would be the correct answer. So if you look over here, A, what I think, yes, A goes wrong and B goes wrong for sure. Now you have to compare between C and D. Just calculate the values of C and D and tell me which value is greatest.
Sir, D.
Yes, what I assume as well, because it's the lowest value and there are 3 oxygen atoms, right? Just make sure which one is the greatest. Apparently it looks that D is the correct answer.
D.
D?
Yes.
So C goes wrong as well. And D is the correct answer. Now question number 14. 50 centimeter cube, that is the volume, and 0.1 mole per dm cube, that is the concentration of silver nitrate, having the formula of AgNO3 is added to 150 centimeter cube volume of 0.05 mole per dm cube concentration of sodium iodide. Okay. After the reaction, solid silver iodide is present in the beaker. Yes, because it's of yellow precipitate. It's a yellow solid, so yellow precipitates would observe. What else is present? Okay. So if I write the equation, I have a silver nitrate and I am reacting silver nitrate with sodium iodide. What will happen? Silver iodide would form along with sodium nitrate, right? But the important thing over here to note is that I'm using 50 centimeter cube of 0.1 mole per dm cube sulfuric silver nitrate and 150 centimeter cube. So I have to convert them into moles. So if I will find the moles of silver nitrate, that must be 50 into 0.1 over 1000. So what will be the number of moles I am getting?
0.005.
0.005. Okay. To find the moles of sodium iodide, 150 into 0.05 over 1000. And what moles I am going to get over here? Yes, can anyone calculate and tell me? 0.0075, right? So if you see, the ratio between these two is 1:1. But here, this is in a greater amount. So some of this would be left. Then silver iodide is there and sodium nitrate is there. Okay. So aqueous silver nitrate and sodium nitrate. Aqueous silver nitrate is in lesser amount. So all of the silver nitrate is going to be consumed. So that is wrong. Aqueous sodium iodide only, that is also wrong. Aqueous sodium nitrate only, that is also wrong. B is the correct answer because the mixture contains sodium iodide as well as sodium nitrate both. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
can you explain? आप एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं? आप वापस से एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं? मुझे नहीं.
Yes, I will explain you. See over here. Their mole ratio is 1:1, right?
Yes.
So if you compare these values, sodium iodide is in a greater amount, greater moles, there are more number of moles of sodium iodide, right?
Yes.
So it means, and if you look at the, and if you look at these, they are also in the ratio of 1:1. So when the reaction would have started, we have both the reactants, we got their moles, but the thing is that the products are zero at that moment, right?
Yes.
But when the reaction have completed, there are 0.005 moles of silver iodide would form, which are precipitates. There are 0.005 moles of sodium nitrate are there, which means that this is all consumed. But when the 0.005 are of sodium iodide is turned into the product, but so it means there must be 0.0025 of sodium iodide would left, right? So this is the solid. Okay, so it means at the end of the reaction we got this and this both, right?
Sure.
That's why we are getting the that's why we are saying that the B option is correct. Okay,
अच्छा, ओके, समझ में आ गया।
Yes, is this clear now? Yes, Hassan, is this clear now?
समझ में आ गया।
Okay, that's fine. Now, question number 15. Just give me a minute, please. Okay. Now, 1.1 mole of the hydrocarbon C5H12 is completely combusted. It produces carbon dioxide, and water. Okay. Here we have a equation. What is the volume of carbon dioxide produced when measured at room temperature and pressure? Okay. So, if you see over here, 1 mole of this is giving you 5 moles of carbon dioxide. So if there is a 0.1 mole of this, then we are getting the 0.5 moles of carbon dioxide. So to turn into a volume, we have to multiply this 0.5 with 24. So if you will multiply 0.5 with 24, you will get 12 decimeter cube. So which makes A, B, and C goes wrong, and D is your correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now question number 16. Carbon electrodes are used to electrolyze aqueous copper to sulfate. Which observations are made? Okay. In case of a sulfate, if you remember, at anode, oxygen is formed. And at cathode, hydrogen is formed. Sorry, it's copper sulfate. So copper is formed. And when copper is formed, the observation would be pink solid. And for oxygen, it's a colorless gas. Okay. So at anode, we are getting the colorless gas forms. So C and D goes wrong. And as I have discussed that at cathode, you are going to get pink solid, and this is wrong. So B goes wrong as well. So we are left with A only. So A is correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Now, question number 17. Electrolysis is used to plate metal coin with silver. The coin is used as an electrode in a suitable electrolyte. Okay, which row is correct? If we have to plate a metal coin with a silver, so that metal coin must be at cathode, right? So coin being at anode makes A and B wrong. Now we are left with C and D. We cannot use AgCl aqueous because it is not aqueous. It is actually insoluble. So that's why we cannot use that, makes C wrong. And D is the correct answer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Uh, just give me a minute, please. Question number 18. An endothermic reaction has an activation energy of X. Which reaction pathway diagram is correct for this reaction? Okay. If it's an endothermic,
A, sir.
सर आपकी आवाज कट कट के आ रही है.
the active site. Maybe now am I audible properly to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Now question number 19. The formation of a liquid water from hydrogen and oxygen may occur in these three steps. Okay. Which stages are endothermic? If you look at first stage, the molecules are turning into atoms, which means bond breaking is taking place. So yes, it's an endothermic. Here, the bonds are being formed, right? And bond forming is exothermic. So that is not the endothermic state, but the exothermic state. So 2 goes wrong. It's if 2 goes wrong, so A and D are the incorrect one. Okay. And when gas turns into liquid, it is a condensation, which is also exo. So this is exo, this is exo. So 3 goes wrong, which makes C wrong again as well. And your correct answer will be B. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 20. In 4 separate experiments, 1, 2, 3, and 4, nitric acid is added to an excess of marble pieces, and the volume of carbon dioxide gas formed is measured. Remember, marble pieces are basically made up of calcium carbonate. So obviously, carbon dioxide gas is removed. Okay. In all 4 experiments, the same volume of nitric acid is used. The concentration or temperature, or both concentration and temperature of the nitric acid are changed. Okay, the volume is states they kept the volume same, but they changed the concentration or temperature or both. The results of the exothermic of the experiments are shown on the graph. Which statement are correct? A lower concentration of acid is used in experiment 3 than in experiment 4. So yes, if you see, this is correct, because in experiment 3, the amount of gas that we are getting is less, and the amount of gas that we are getting in experiment 1 is greater. So when we are using the same volume, but in experiment 1, if there is a concentrated acid, then it means there must be a more number of moles of acid in this, and that's why we are getting the more product. So yes, A statement is correct. Experiment 4 is faster than experiment 3. Completely wrong, because experiment 4 have a even less. The gradient of the experiment 4 would be smaller, would be lower. The acid used in experiment 2 is of a low concentration than experiment 1. No, because if the concentration would low, as they told us that the volume is same, which means that there must be less number of moles, and if there is a less number of moles, then the gas produced must be lesser than that is produced in experiment 1. That makes C goes wrong. Now the temperature of the acid is the same in experiment 1 and experiment 2. No, if the temperature would same, then you are going to get the grade shape of the gradient would be same. So D goes wrong as well. So A is our correct answer, because we are taking the same volume of both the acids in experiment 1 and experiment 3, but experiment 3 have a diluted solution, have a lesser concentration. That's why the carbon dioxide formed have a lesser volume. Is this clear to everyone? Now, yes, if anyone have any doubt, first. Okay, question number 21. The equation shows the reaction for the manufacture of ammonia. Which change will decrease the activation energy of this reaction? The only thing, if you remember, the activation energy is decreased by adding a catalyst. So this is correct. Not change. Nothing happens to the activation energy by changing temperature or concentration or pressure. So B, C, D goes wrong, and A is your correct answer. Now, question number 22. A reversible reaction is shown. Okay. What changes increases the mass of the precipitate formed? Adding more water. Yes, if we add more water, equilibrium shifts to the right, and if equilibrium shifts to the right, then more precipitates would form. So statement 1 is correct. Adding aqueous sodium hydroxide. So if I add aqueous sodium hydroxide, what would happen? That acid would react, and as a result, the concentration of acid would decrease. And due to the decrease in the concentration of acid, which is the product, the equilibrium shifts to the right to make the more acid to restore the equilibrium again. That's why experiment statement 2 goes wrong. Now adding dilute hydrochloric acid. No, if I add dilute hydrochloric acid, its concentration raises, due to which equilibrium shifts to the left. So the amount of the precipitate would decrease. So third is wrong. And if third is wrong, then B and D goes wrong, and 1 and 2 both are correct, which makes C wrong as well. So A is our correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
सर एडिंग aqueous sodium hydroxide से क्या आएगा?
Sodium hydroxide is a base. It consumes all the acid present over here, right? And when all the acid from here consumed and its concentration decreases, equilibrium shifts to the right. Is this clear, Hassan, now?
Okay.
So if the equilibrium shifts to the right, then we will get the more amount of the precipitates. So that's why statement 2, adding sodium hydroxide, is correct. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now question number 23. Sulfur trioxide is produced by the reversible reaction shown. Okay. Which changes in conditions will produce a greater amount of SO3 at equilibrium? Okay. Adding a catalyst? No. Catalyst does not affect the position of the equilibrium. Increasing the pressure. Increasing the temperature, the reaction is exothermic. So to increase in temperature shifts the equilibrium towards left. So the amount of sulfur trioxide is going to be decreased. So C goes wrong. Removing SO2 and O2. In both the cases, the equilibrium shifts to the left. And as a result, the amount of SO3 decrease. So D goes wrong. Now we are left with the B only. Now, if we increase in pressure, so if you recall, increase in pressure shifts the equilibrium where there are lesser number of moles of gas. So here we have a 2 moles of gas, and here we have a 3 moles of gas. So equilibrium will shift to the right, and if the equilibrium will shift to the right, then the amount of SO3 at equilibrium increases. That's make B the correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now question number 24. Iron 2 ions react with chlorine. Which statement about this reaction is correct? Chlorine is reduced by iron 2 ions. So chlorine is 0. And Uh, so chlorine is being reduced. Yes, that is correct. Chlorine is the reducing agent? No, that is wrong. If chlorine is being reduced, then it's an oxidizing agent. Iron 2 ions are reduced? No. If you see, it turns into +2 to +3, which means it's oxidized. So B and C are wrong. Iron 2 ions are oxidizing agent. No. If they are oxidizing themselves, then they are the reducing agent. So D goes wrong as well. So A is the correct answer. Okay. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Now, question number 25. Which reactions involve oxidation and reduction? Okay. Chlorine gas reacting with aqueous potassium iodide. Yes, if you recall, when chlorine reacts with Ki, potassium iodide, what would happen? KCl would form and iodine would form instead of iodide. So yes, it's a redox reaction, oxidation and reduction taking place. Sulfuric acid with magnesium. So when magnesium and sulfuric acid would react, magnesium has initially zero charge. It's not the part of the compound, it's an element. When it reacts with sulfuric acid, it will form magnesium sulfate. And here magnesium is oxidized and hydrogen is reduced. So yes, that is also correct. Dilute hydrochloric acid reacting with sodium hydroxide. It's a simple neutralization reaction when an acid and alkali react. So remember, the reaction, the neutralization reaction in where the acid and alkali reacts is not the redox reaction. So third goes wrong, and third goes wrong makes A, C, and D wrong. So we are left with only one option, which is B. So B is the correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 26. Which statement about the weak acids is correct? They are partially dissociated into aqueous solution. Yes. They do not react with alkali. Completely wrong thing. They do not react with metals. No, they do react with metals as well. This is also wrong. They form a solutions of pH values ranges from 0 to 2. No, they have a higher pH values being a weak acid, not these pH values normally of strong acids. So B, C, and D goes wrong, and A is your correct answer. Okay. Now, question number 27. A colorless aqueous solution of pH 13 is tested separately with a methyl orange indicator and thymolphthalein indicator. Which row is correct? Okay. As it's pH 13, so it's an alkali. So in methyl red, it is going to give you yellow. And in thymolphthalein, it is going to give you blue. So A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is your correct answer. Okay. Now, question number 28. You have to remember the color. Methyl orange is red in acid and yellow in alkali. And thymolphthalein is colorless in acid and blue in alkali. Now, question number 28. Which pair of reagents is suitable for preparing pure sample of copper 2 chloride crystals? A soluble salt, right? And for soluble salt of a weak, these less reactive metals, we use normally metal oxide with the acid. So aqueous copper 2 nitrate and aqueous sodium chloride, there is no acid, which makes it wrong. Copper with sodium chloride, no reaction would occur, goes wrong. Copper with dilute hydrochloric acid, again no reaction would occur. So C goes wrong. D is your correct answer, as I have told you, that metal oxide and an acid. So here you have a metal oxide, copper 2 oxide, and hydrochloric acid. So D is the correct answer. Now question number 29. Element X forms an oxide of formula of X2O5. In which group the periodic table X is likely to be? Okay, so it's easy to identify if it's X2O5, which makes it -2 times 5, so -10. And if it's a -10, then the X would have a +10 and one X have a +5. So if it's in +5, so group 5. So A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is your correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 30. The diagram shows the structure of an alloy. Which statement about alloy is correct? Alloys can only be formed by mixing copper or iron ions with metals. No. Carbon and iron are the only two elements in the stainless steel. No, there are some other elements as well. In an alloy, there is attraction between positive ions and a sea of delocalized electrons. Yes, that is same as in metals. The alloy brass has a chemical formula. No, no alloy has a chemical formula. So D, A, and B goes wrong, and your correct answer is C. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, which compound has the lowest percentage by mass of nitrogen? Okay. So here we have a 4 nitrogens in a 60 grams, 4 moles of nitrogen. Here we have a 2 moles of nitrogen in 132 gram. So this one obviously have a lowest percentage. So A goes wrong. Here we have a 3 nitrogens in 149 grams. So we have to compare between these two. And here we have a 2 nitrogens in 80 gram. So D goes wrong as well because it have a greater percentage of nitrogen than B. So you can just easily the shortcut way 2 over 132 and 3 over 149, which is giving you the smaller answer. Can anybody confirm me either B or C, which is giving you the smaller answer? Yes, can anybody tell me B, either B or
Sir, B.
B? Okay, so C goes wrong as well, and B is our correct answer. Now question number 32. The diagram shows the structure of the 5 hydrocarbons. Okay. Now what they are asking, which 3 hydrocarbons are isomers of each other? Okay. So if you look, here we have a 5 carbons. Here we have a 5 carbons. Here we have a 4 carbons. Here we have a 5 carbons. And here we have a 4 carbons. They are talking about 3 hydrocarbons, which are isomers. So these two are 4, which makes 3 and 5 goes wrong. So here is a 3, here is 3, and here is 3. Now we are left with only one option A. So A is your correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 33. The diagram shows the fractionating column used in the separation of petroleum. Okay. Which row explains why fraction R is collected above fraction S? Fraction R is collected over is above fraction S, which means the boiling point of R is smaller than S. That's why, right? So these two goes wrong. And the average MR of R is also smaller than S. That's why it is going to a more height. So C goes wrong as well. And your correct answer is D. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now question number 34. Which compound is an alkane? If you remember, the general formula of alkane is CnH2n plus 2. So 31 and 33, no, it's not an alkane. 31 and 60, again, not double and then plus 2. 31, it's exactly double. So this goes wrong, C. So we are left with only one answer. It's a 31, yes. So D is the correct answer, because if I times 31, 2, if I makes it times 2, it would give me 62 and plus 2, 64. Okay. Which row correctly describes alkenes? First thing, alkenes are not saturated, so A and B goes wrong. Result when shaken with aqueous bromine, no change. That is completely wrong. That is the test that aqueous bromine is decolorized, which is correct. So C goes wrong as well, and D is your correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, okay. Question number 36. A carboxylic acid with a molecular formula C4H8O2 with an alcohol with a molecular formula C3H8O. Okay, so remember, there is this carbon, and the whole part with this carbon belongs to carboxylic acid. Okay, and the carbons which are with the oxygen singly bonded are from alcohol. This is from carboxylic acid and this is from alcohol. So we have to figure it out. If you see here, you have a 4 carbon atoms which make this wrong, and in the other way there are 3 carbon atoms on the carboxylic acid side. Again, on the alcohol side, 4 carbon atoms makes it wrong. Here there are 3 carbon atoms on the carboxylic acid side, which makes D wrong. So we are left with the B, which is correct, because 4 carbon atoms on the carboxylic acid side and 3 carbon atoms on the alcohol side, as they have told you that carboxylic acid have a 4 carbons and alcohol have a 3 carbons. Is this understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 37. The repeat unit of polymer is shown. Which monomer would produce this polymer? So there are 2 carbons with a double bond. One carbon have a CH3 group and a hydrogen, and the other carbon have a Cl and bromine. So here in D, if you see, Cl and bromine are on the other carbon, 2 other carbons, which makes D wrong. In C, the bromine and chlorine are in 2 other carbons, are bonded with 2 other carbons, which makes C wrong. In the similar way, in B, the chlorine and bromine are bonded to 2 other different carbons, which makes B wrong. So we are left with A only. So A is your correct answer in this case. Okay. Now, question number 38. When heated, magnesium reacts with oxygen in air to form magnesium oxide, a white powder. A student investigates the change in the mass that occurs during this reaction. The student is given a balance and 3 sets of apparatus shown. Okay. Metal tongue and a burning oxygen. Then they put in a tube, heated, blown the air from the one side, and then, okay, there are 2 ways to heat it. Which set of apparatus are suitable in this investigation? Okay, they said that magnesium oxide is a white powder. So if it's a white powder, then what I think that we cannot use this way or this way. No, 1 minute. We cannot use this way because as the white powder would form, it would all, uh, discarded or wasted. So one cannot be your answer. Okay. We can heat the, but if you see, by this process, we can heat the magnesium, and as a result, magnesium reacts with the oxygen. We have a metal tongue to open the lid. I have to check one thing. Yes, we can use both of them. In both of them, we can get magnesium oxide. Magnesium turns into magnesium oxide, and then we can weigh it to know that. And when we weigh it, we know the difference between the mass, which is initially before the heating and then after the heating. So D goes wrong, and C is your correct answer. Now, question number 39. Okay, that is from chromatography. Okay, a student uses paper chromatography to find the RF of Fe3 positive, RF value of Fe3 positive ion. The result is shown. Okay, to make a spot containing Fe3 positive ion more visible, the paper is sprayed with aqueous sodium hydroxide so that the precipitates of iron 3 forms. Iron 3 hydroxide would form, and if you recall, on adding sodium hydroxide, the precipitates would be of red brown of Fe3 positive, right? Under the conditions of the experiment, the RF value of Fe3 positive ion is given by C, the distance traveled by the iron 3 positive spot divided by the total spot. So it would be X over Y for the RF value. Here these two are wrong, and here green is written, which makes A wrong. So you are left with B only. So B is your correct answer. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 40. Test on an aqueous solution of an unknown compound P is shown in the table. So see, now you have to memorize those tests as they have provided in your paper 4, but they are not going to provide you these in paper 1. So you have to remember those all the cations and anions tests. Okay. So adding aqueous sodium hydroxide, green precipitates soluble in excess, giving a green solution. If you recall, that is for chromium only. Okay. So C and D goes wrong. Dilute nitric acid and aqueous barium nitrate, white precipitates. So that can be a sulfate. Dilute nitric acid and silver nitrate, no precipitate. So no chloride or no group 7 element. No group 7 element. So A goes wrong and B is your correct answer. Is this understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we have ended specimen paper. Tomorrow you all have an exam. If you have any query, you can WhatsApp me. And best of luck. May Allah give you this all of them. Yes, I'm going to share this salt fast paper in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay. Take care, everyone. Allah Hafiz.
Okay, sir. I love it.
Tomorrow.